So now to Knicks fans, I've got a little audio to play for you. The Knicks, by the way, that's a game we've yet to talk about. Last night's game, that was a game. Pacers Knicks. We caught the end of it here as our show was wrapping up. I thought the Pacers absolutely got hosed, not once but twice, as that was not a kickball. And I don't know how on earth you call that foul. And I'm stunned that Rick Carlisle hasn't murdered that ref. Rick Carlisle he's like next to Pop, who's probably calmed down a little bit in his old age. Carlisle's the biggest hothead in coaching.
Would you like to hear from Rick Carlisle?
Yeah, I'd like to hear what he said about it.
Here's what he said about not getting whistles late.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the officiating. We're not expecting to get calls in here. It'd be nice if they laid off that one, but they didn't. So that's just the way it goes. I mean, we challenged it, they reviewed it, they got a bunch of people in New Jersey that agreed with them, so that's just the way it goes. So we got to learn from that too. That's a timing play. Both guys are involved, so we'll have to execute that better next time.
Wow, that's not the Rick Carlisle I remember.
No, you thought he might get fined there for doing something a lot different.
Yeah, that guy's an ass. But it's hard, I mean, he had some restraint there. That you can't call that. With the game on the line, get out of here with that. And by the way, DiVincenzo diving like that is pretty ballsy, considering somebody's gonna be open. You're laying on the ground trying to get that call. You should never get that call. And
it's a little reminiscent of the women's game. Remember the whole Paige Buckets thing? Remember that screen that was all controversial?
Yeah. That one, I think this one was a worse call.
I think so. I thought that one was the right call. I think this one was a little way more in the gray area.
Dude, you think that was gray? I mean, look, it was by the letter of the law. They reviewed it, like he said. I mean, he was moving.
I thought that he was moving a little bit, and he kind of got his hip in there a little bit. But it's one of those things you expect in that moment for that not to get called. But then the person who's on the other side of that argument says, well, if it should get called not in that moment, then it should get called in that moment as well.
I don't know. I think late in games you swallow your whistle on.
I don't disagree,
things.
But people who are about the rules are like, if it's a foul in the first minute, it's a foul in the last minute.
But that's not right. That I disagree with that premise. That is not.
But that's
true.
how the officials are told to officiate.
Okay, well, again,
I'm not saying it's right, but that's what they're trying to do.
Fine, that's how they called it. This little guy here in Portland thinks that was stupid. And by the way, I don't have a dog in that fight. It's just hard to play that well and come out with a loss, particularly on the road, when you had two things really screw you in the end. I mean, Indiana, from what I saw, and the game was on mostly on while we were in here doing the show, so I didn't see the whole game. But what I saw, everybody always talks about how Indiana can't defend. I thought their defense was really good.
It was especially good early
when I was watching it. So that's a tough L. More importantly, Knicks fans have been making the rounds, and they've been dormy. So teams have to win for us, at least out on the West Coast, to really start to pay attention to how obnoxious their fans are, right? Like Boston, they win all these titles. The Patriots, the Bruins won in there. The Red Sox won a couple. They win all these titles, Celtics even. And we are inundated with their douchebag fans, and we have long made fun of Boston sports fan here. Okay, well, Philly fan, crazy as hell. New York fan has been dormy because they just. I mean, when was the last time a New York team won anything? I mean,
it's got to be the Yankees, right?
Well, what year was that? When's the last time the Yankees won the World Series? I mean, you had the Subway Series, obviously. I don't remember what year that was. It wasn't too long ago. But the Knicks haven't done anything forever. And so you just look, I don't think they're
2009. So you 13 years? No. What's that, 15 years?
Yeah, you really only have the Giants, the football Giants, who won a couple titles. But
the Rangers win recently at all?
That you're asking the wrong guy. Even though I'm the hockey scribe here at the Fan.
And kind of a cool thing I saw, Madison Square Garden hosting 4 games in 4 nights. It's Rangers, Knicks, Rangers, Knicks. Started on Sunday and it'll go through Wednesday.
I will say there's a lot of juice to that building. I mean, that when people tell you out in sports land, when they tell you that the Rose Bowl is special, believe them. It is special. And I haven't been to Madison Square Garden, but when they tell you it's special, you can sort of see that on TV. Like it enough people say that's it's a special place.
And the Rangers haven't won the Cup since '94, so it's been a while.
Yeah, so New York's just kind of been dormant.
They've been starving.
So here are their okay. So now what people are doing? The Knicks they win one damn series, and people go out on the street. You know how they put together the little social media videos of their fans celebrating. Here is one for the Knicks. They call it side talk videos, like sidewalk videos after the game.
Yo, Philly, you can feel these nuts. When catch you in Philly, we gon' you up. I'll wipe my ass with that. DB, smoke some weed. Let's go. Let's go. Joel and B, we sending your ass to China, so get ready to pack the fuck up. Yo, let's go, Dante DiVincenzo, the Italian stallion. We are the New York Knicks. Suck on the New York. Go, New York, go, New York, go. If I had a sister, I'd let Jalen Brunson and the entire New York Knicks run a f***ing train on her.
Oh my God. What on earth? What on earth? Who are these Neanderthals?
The
My
last
God.
person is fantasizing about having a sister so that the Knicks team could do something depraved to her.
Did I hear
what?
Was there an F. Joe Biden in there?
Because he's from Philadelphia.
Oh,
He's from
right, okay.
Pennsylvania.
That's
It was F Philly cheesesteaks and F Joe Biden, I think.
God, and there were kids in there?
Yeah, the first kid said, "Hey, Embiid, come get these hands, bitch."
God, man. It's just, if you had to power rank Boston, Philly, New York fan, now that New York fan is back in the lexicon and they've re-entered the chat, like how would you power rank them?
What is the criteria? Is like best fan, worst fan?
Worst.
Worst fan?
Okay, let's put it this way. Who is the most, power rank them based on obnoxiousness?
See, and here's the thing where it's going to be tough to distinguish. I would have to say Boston, but I think that's because we've heard from them the most because they've won the most championships recently, and they don't shut up about it. But those other, Philly has won some championships. The Eagles, the Phillies, they've gotten there. I think Philly fan, they have the throw batteries at Santa crowd. They get violent, but I think Boston more obnoxious, and New York really hasn't had the opportunity recently to be obnoxious. So I'm going to say Boston.
I agree. I'm going to go Boston, New York, Philly in obnoxiousness. Now, rank arrogance.
Ooh.
See, now I'm going to go New York.
Which is funny because they have the least to be arrogant about recently.
Yeah, but they'll always tell you how many titles the Yankees
Sure, of course. Yeah, I think that's still right. I think there's an elitism about New York above those other cities as well.
100%. So I'm going to go, in arrogance, I'm going to go New York 1. I'm going to go Philly 2, Boston 3. And then the last one would be crazy. Like, who's the craziest? And that's Philly, right?
I think it might be Philly, but then you see something like this from the Knicks fans, and you're like, I don't know, is Sixers fan doing that? Sixers fans were having their own building taken over by Knicks fans last week.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I don't know. I think.
But if you're talking football, probably Eagles fans I would take over either Giants or Jets.
They're crazy.
Fans.
I have a friend that lives. He's from New York, and he lives now in Philly, and he has talked to me about this many times, and he said, dude, you have no idea. You get a little bit of it in the media. Philly fans, they're crazy. Like, he goes to Phillies games, baseball games. He's like, dude, there are some of these dudes, you do not mess with them. Like, it's another level of insane. They're angry. That's what it is. They're angry. So I'm going to go Philly, on that scale, I'm going to go Philly 1, New York 2, Boston 3. So I think Boston's the most obnoxious, New York's the most arrogant, and Philly is the craziest.
I think that's probably right, although New York's showing a lot of crazy recently, especially when it comes to the Knicks.
Well, let's see if the Knicks keep going. We'll keep an eye on this power ranking.
And we're likely to get a New York versus Boston in the next round, assuming Boston takes care of business.
Very true.
With Cleveland.
Who do we side with? I got to side with New York.
Oh, you have to. I mean, I'm here for whatever sideshow this is with their fans.
I am too. Yeah.
And I've got a buddy who lives in New York right now, and he says they're like this after every playoff win, not just the series win. Game 1, they're like this. They're like any game they win in the playoffs right now. It's a freaking party outside of the streets.
You piece of garbage.
That's what they get it from. They get it from listening to guys like Don LaGreca.
Probably.
Yeah. Who the hell are you?
They're so high tea and angry. God, calm down. You won one series.